Good morning. My name's David Kelly and I'm one of South Australia's Mental Health Commissioners. For the past 6 months, I've been meeting with a range of different international students who are currently living, working and learning in Adelaide. They've shared with me the stories of both challenge and opportunity that they've gone through as they've had to deal with the impacts of COVID, both financially and emotionally. One of the really important concepts that's come through has been the different cultural understandings of mental health and wellbeing, and that will be the topic of our podcast today. But before we start, I do want to acknowledge that today, in Adelaide, South Australia, we're meeting on the land of the Kaurna people. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and we acknowledge their continuing connection to country. This was and always will be Kaurna land. So one of the important concepts for us is to really appreciate the diversity of understandings around mental health and wellbeing. Like many countries, Australia included, our students today will share with us their understandings of what it means to be well in a different country. Most countries are reticent. Most communities are reticent to talk about mental health and wellbeing, and this can be a challenge. But at the same time, our Western approaches to mental illness and treatment can sometimes not be as inclusive of more holistic and spiritual understandings. We're going to be exploring all these themes this morning through our podcast. And now I'd like to introduce the students who are with us today. And firstly, I'd like to introduce Abu.
Hi everyone, my name is Abu. At the moment I'm doing my PhD in education. I was born in Indonesia and growing up there, which is considered as a country as with most diverse country in the world, with more than almost 1,000 languages and ethnicity and spirituality. So in this moment, I would like to share about how we understand mental health and well-being in a spirituality way. And yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you.
Cool. So hi everyone, my name is Jaan. I was from Malaysia and I'm currently doing a food and nutrition science bachelor degree at the University of Adelaide. And I think it is very important to be try to be open and talk about issues around mental health so that people can actually get more information about it. And in doing so, try to understand like what is the issue around this topic, and to clear up the stigma if there is one in certain cultures. And it helps to improve our mental health and well-being.
Thanks, Shah. And over to you, Sam.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I'm from China. I study Master of Social Work in Flinders University. And today I would like to share my understanding of mental health, how I've been educated about what is mental health, and also I would like to share some other students' stories regarding mental health, because I did a survey for international students. I got a lot of different response from them. So yeah.
Fantastic. And finally to you, Valencia.
Yes, hello, I'm Valencia. I'm from China as well, and I study from social work as well. So just like some, and I think most of the international students, they came here alone, so they will experience more loneliness and the mental health issues. So I would like to invite everyone to consider this issue on their group. Yeah.
Fantastic, that's wonderful. Well, look, there's a question that I'd like to pose to all of you, really, and that is that we know that different cultures have different understandings of mental health and well-being. So I'd like you to tell us, how does your community, your culture, your family understand these ideas around mental health and well-being? Maybe Sam, would you like to start?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In my family, we don't really like to talk about mental health. If I feel sad, I just close the door. My mom probably will check every hour to see I'm okay or not, but we don't really talk about why. And also, when I was a teacher in China, I have many students who are very stressful and about their study because they are in the final year. They feel very like shameful to talk about like why they feel bad, like why they feel so stressful. But instead of that, they just keep it as a secret in their heart.
Okay.
So yeah, so like we don't really have specific like topic to talk about your mental health, your feelings. We only focus on how score that you can get as much as you can. So yeah, that's really bad. Like especially when I start my study as a social work student, I realized like how mental health is important for us. So that changed me a lot. Like especially I consider about my mental health situation a lot. Like when I don't feel very well, I will talk with someone who is professional. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
I think parents and children, the relationship between parents and children is very hard to talk about mental health in our culture. So as importantly, parents always, they don't show the actual relationship in front of children, so they pretended the children do not know how's going with their parents' relationship, but actually the children can feel that, but we don't really share with each other. So I think they see mental health issues is it's a problem, and it's a shame.
Okay. So how does that compare to your experience of growing up in Malaysia?
So I am from a Malaysian Chinese background, so mainly brought up in a Chinese family. We actually rarely talk about mental health issue because we are not educated about it. Even in schools, we don't talk much about it, and people tend to see counseling as like a problematic thing, as in like if let's say you have been called to the counselor room, then it means that you might have a little bit problem. Yeah, you are in trouble. Yes, you're right.
Sick.
Yeah, you are sick in some ways. So people don't look at that topic, mental health, as something that is common or something that we have to pay attention to. So that is very interesting, I think.
Okay. And once again, the question I put to you, Abu, is how does these sorts of stories about how mental health and well-being can somehow issues be a bit shameful or a sign of weakness, how does that compare to your experience of growing up in Indonesia?
Okay. The similarity things, we are from Asia, so talking about mental health and well-being still fuzzy and taboo to discuss. However, in a specific way in Indonesia, the concept of mental health and well-being is strongly related to the spirituality, the level of spirituality. Yes, so maybe mental health, well-being, or spirituality have the same aims to understand the meaning of life or the satisfaction of life. So people who suffer with mental health, they would be considered as a person who have like spiritual problems. Also, they could be judged as a person who are not grateful to their lives. So and then I personally agree with the concept because some studies have found that there is a strong association between the mental and spiritual lives. Yes.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So what you're presenting is a situation where certainly for some of your families or cultures, it's not easy to talk about mental health. It's not possible to open up about it. And whereas for you, Abu, it's maybe okay to talk about it, but it's framed in a spiritual context. Yes. So let's think about how that plays out then, living in Adelaide as an international student in 2021. We know that for many of you, it's been a really difficult time. You've had to study online, you've been away from your family, you've been concerned about how your families are going back in your country of origin. But if you come from a culture that doesn't find it easy to talk about these challenging issues, how do you go about trying to address them in a positive way? Any thoughts?
For me, joining the yoga class is one of the most relaxed things. But because I have been in Adelaide for 7 years, so it's quite a long time, and then most of the time I spend the time with myself. So the way I treat myself would be having a good meal or having a good food, and then I cook for myself and then I eat it. You know, you cook for 2 hours and then you eat in 2 minutes, but the joy after the meal is really fantastic. So I like yoga and cooking, and that helped me a lot.
So that's the self-care, the idea of self-care, which is really important. But all of you, or some of you, I suspect do know students or friends who have really struggled with their mental health. And sometimes self-care, yoga, exercise, it's not always enough. So what have you seen are the strategies that maybe for some of your friends that they've drawn on to really get help when they need it, given the stigma around mental health?
I would like to, if I feel so stressful or mentally I don't feel very well, I would like to talk with my friends, no matter they are international students or local friends. I just want to have a chat. So during that time, I will feel a bit relaxed, I think. At least there's someone knows that what's going on with me. And also, I look for some support from mental health organizations. They probably can offer us free counseling services, so which probably they can help us to identify what's the main issues that why I feel so bad. So which is good for me. Yeah.
And then, just like some said, some mentioned about the free counseling sections. Most of international students, they don't know have the service here, and then just support them. Most of them, they talking to friends, but most of my friends said, oh, they don't have friends, and then just just living alone and study alone, and then it would be so friends for international students. I think it would be the priority, because we got the family away from here. So just try to talk to a friend or try to talk to professionals.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Zhao, what are you seeing through your experience?
Yeah, during the COVID time, I think something that helped me to get through, especially regarding this mental health issue topic, is that staying connected. So I did stay connected with my family, so especially my mom. So we text usually every day, even it's just a gesture of say good morning or good night. That helps a lot, in staying connected with each other. So it helps me in the sense that I know that I'm still connected to someone else, and it's not as lonely as we are isolated in the room during the COVID times. And I think friends as well, the peers, also helps us to walk through these hard times. Because if let's say when you have a group of friends, you might be happy to share your feelings with them. Especially it disturbs your emotion or issues about your mental health. You feel like it's something that's not right. You might be happy to share with them, and they can be a very good source of support, some great friends that you have been maybe say some time together. So staying connected is one of the strategies to deal with this.
Fantastic. So Abu, you've framed your understanding of mental health around a more spiritual, holistic approach to that. Yes. Tell me then how that would play out for you if you were facing a challenge in your life or a difficult time in your life.
Yes, I personally agree with Jan. What she can do dealing with the COVID-19. For myself, because I still sticking with my spirituality theory about the mental health. So the first thing I do is doing my personal rituals. Yeah. In this case, my religious practice. Yeah. So it really helps me to tolerate the stress by generating the peace, and also giving me how to accept the difficult time situation. I mean COVID. The second things I did when last year for the first lockdown was applying or practicing from the teachings from my beliefs. Yeah. It's like sharing, building a good connection to the people, like Jay said before. And then because if you share your problems to the others, it means that it made me like feel less alone in this world.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, that's fantastic. Look, I guess one of the questions I also want to put to all three of you really has to do with Western approaches to mental illness and treatment approaches. So a lot of those approaches are fundamentally based on the idea that people need to open up and talk. But for cultures where there might be shame, or it might be seen as a weakness or poor character, how do you think that mental health services can best support international students who come from a culture where mental illness or mental distress is seen as a sign of weakness or shame?
In my perspective, I would recommend if the mental health services, they have the bilingual staff, so they can, the staff come from the same cultural background, so we can only, speak, 50 words on this issue, and then they get you, not you spend, 5,000 words to explain the whole thing. So I think if you can looking for staff who from this, multicultural backgrounds, that would be help a lot. Yeah.
Relatability, exciting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with her. Like, we need some bilingual staff that they can talk with students from different backgrounds. Like, they probably can stand from their views to think about the main reasons about why they suffer from mental health issues. And plus, I hope for some agencies they can do some outreach as well, so they can keep in touch with some students. For example, one counselor can have 5 regular students, just keep an eye on them. Yeah, that would be helpful, I think, because sometimes when we need some help, like urgent help, we don't really we have to make an appointment with the counselor. But the thing is, we probably need to wait for a month or...
Agree. At least a week or sometimes to get the appointment, but you really need to speak up about that thing. I've experienced that as well.
Okay.
Peer group may be another option. Yes, you get people stay connected, and then if you have any issues, you can just talk to them and just send text online.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's good to have information. So maybe mental health organization can put out information about mental health and well-being, since it's a stigma around this topic in some cultures, so they might not be educated a lot about this. So I think something that would be very helpful is to put out this information so that it can reach out to people from a cultural background that has a stigma around mental health. So as you know more about it, or being exposed more about that information, it helps you to try to maybe take a step to be open, and then try to talk about it, and then I think over time this helps a lot.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I've got one last quick question for all of you. I want you to imagine that you're standing in Adelaide Airport. A younger version of yourself approaches you. That younger version of yourself has just got off the plane from China or Indonesia or Malaysia, excited and enthusiastic about the life ahead of them as students. What's the one piece of advice that you would want to give your younger self? Abu, you go first.
Okay, for me, stay with your cultural and spiritual perspective, but don't close your mind, open your mind, because you can get shocking cultures in Adelaide. So Adelaideans is really helpful.
Okay, fantastic. What about for you?
Cool. I would say to my younger self to embrace the little things in life. Just as simple as you walk along the streets, it could be a beautiful tree, or birds, or skies. The little things, I think it helps play a role in our lives, especially on our mental health and well-being, as well as to engage in activities around, in the city, in the universities. I think it helps to form part of my life in Adelaide, and it's very constructive. Wonderful. And encourage people to live your life to the fullest.
Okay, that's great, thanks. What about for you, Sam?
Oh, I would like to say this is probably a very tough journey, very hard. Sometimes you may feel sad, feel stressful, but this is a journey that how you can grow up, to be a better person. You only live once, and this is your choice to be an international student, and you will be a better man in the future. So don't feel stressed. You are allowed to feel stressful, but there is a bright life waiting for you.
Okay, fantastic. And for you, Valencia?
I would say get the driver license as soon as possible. You will know when you get your driver license, and your life will be better, and then you can meet more people. Yes, yes, get your license first. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Great advice from all of you. Look, I'd like to thank you all for participating in this discussion. It's been really useful it's helped me certainly to understand more about what these concepts of mental health and wellbeing mean in your cultures. So this is the second of our series of podcasts. These will be released during Mental Health Month in October 2021. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'd really like to thank Abu and Ja and Sam and Valencia. And I'd also like to thank Wellbeing SA for their support in funding this initiative as well. So thanks very much. My name's David Kelly, South Australian Mental Health Commissioner, and I hope you'll join us again for the next in our series of podcasts. See you later.